Okay, so for the first game of March, we're going to look at a game between Wesley So and Levon Aronian. This was played in the Magnus Carlsen Invitational recently. So Wesley So's white, he starts with d4, and Aronian responds with a Nimzo Indian. Wesley plays the Queen C2 variation, and this Knight f3, d5. I won't discuss the opening too much, as there's a lot of theory. So, by playing Bishop h4, Wesley is basically giving up a pawn. If he wanted to keep the material level, he would have traded here. Okay, so black takes the pawn. And now, in taking the pawn, black gives up the center, so white now takes the center and threatens to recapture the pawn this way. So, white is also threatening to win the knight with a pin here. So black first kicks the bishop out, kicks the bishop away, white brings it back, and then protects the pawn. And this knight can't take the pawn because the bishop's pinning the knight. So white plays e5 to take control of the e4 square. Knight h5, queen e4, attacking the rook here. So black has like two options here. He could have played bishop d7, which was harder to see because it gives up the rook. But this would be bad for white because first bishop c6, queen takes a7, take this knight, and then develop another piece. So now black's down a rook, but white's king is going to be very unsafe, and black is going to win at least a piece back. So this should be better to winning for black. But white doesn't have to take the rook. He can just play bishop e2, and the position's still pretty unclear. He's down a pawn, but he has compensation for sure. So black decides to play queen d5 to challenge white's queen from the center. And white doesn't want to trade queens, obviously, because if he does, then it will open up this diagonal for black's bishop, and now his extra pawn is extra defended. Like there's no way white's gonna capture that. So yeah, white doesn't want to trade queens, plays queen g4. Oh, and white can't take the queen because of the pin. So just to let you know, queen g4, knight g7, only move. And now it looks like white can start his attack with h4. Open up black's kingside, but this would actually be a mistake because f5 traps the queen. If white en passant, then e5, and this is actually trapping the queen. There's nowhere to go. This is taken, and these squares are all taken, so there's nowhere to go. So if white drops back, then g4, and black just wins a free piece. So this is winning for black. So Wesley plays bishop e2, and he realizes that black's going to play f5, but he prepared for it. So he didn't play h4 because that's not preparing for it. And Aronian actually plays f5, which is a mistake because of bishop e2. So now white has to drop back the queen back because, as we saw, this is bad. Traps the queen. Drops the queen back. g4 does fork the queen and the knight and win a piece, but white gets a couple of pawns. So white gets like 2 pawns for it and development. And yeah, so this is bad. It doesn't look like it now, but We're gonna look at another variation Aronian should have played. He should have just stuck with knight c6, just developing, and then white would have actually had to drop back queen h3. But anyways, so this happened in the game, and here, black's threatening to take this with check and then follow it up and fork these two. So if white can't take the rook, it's bad, because take, check, fork, and black has at least a draw here. If white doesn't play king e2, then he's just losing a rook for free, and a second rook as well. So black has at least a draw, but he's actually winning with f4, bishop takes, and this fork. So this is a winning endgame for him because of his past pawns here, and he has 2 knights for a rook. So this is winning for black. So white doesn't want to be greedy. He should castle instead, which is what he did in the game. And black plays c6 just to protect his rook. So here white's actually down a full piece, a full knight, and if we count the pawns, he only has a pawn for it. So he has a pawn for a knight. But it's actually already very bad for black because there's no pawns in front of the black king, and he has no pieces developed. Well, he has some, but only one of them is actually protecting the king. So white plays rook d1 because he's starting to develop his rooks, getting ready to attack the black king. Queen b6, and here is a crucial moment for white because it's not obvious like where he can actually attack the black king, because if he tries to go this way, then black can exchange this, and white doesn't really want to give up the light square bishop, and then black might be able to bring the knight here. So yeah, so the main problem is this pawn. It's blocking the e4 square. If the e4 square was available, then the knight could go in, the bishop could go in, and target h7. So that's what Wesley plays. He plays knight e4, giving up another piece. Another option would have been bishop h4, with the idea of bishop f6 to try and attack, get in this way. And if black stops it with knight d7, white can actually sacrifice the rook, bishop f6, rook f7, and now it looks like another dead end, but knight e4 works again. And with the idea of knight g5, threatening to attack, capture the rook, and queen h7, queen h8. So a lot of threats. So black has to take, bishop takes, and now there's no way to prevent checkmate really, because if knight f5, then queen h8. And if rook takes f6, then bishop check, king h8. If king f7, then take mate. So king h8, bishop g6, check, and then now take. So there was other ways to checkmate, but this was the quickest. And yeah, it's gonna be checkmate. Knight moves, then f7 mate. Okay, so Wesley could have played bishop h4, but he started with knight e4 instead, which is also good. Gives up another piece just to open up the roads to black's king. Take. Now black plays rook f5. He has to block the diagonal in some way. So Okay, so black played rook f5. If he tried knight f5, white would have just checked here, and king h8's forced, because knight g7 then queen h7, so this is bad. And now white would have taken, rook takes is forced, otherwise e6 is bad. So rook takes, and then bishop h4 here. And then that threatens like rook d8 as well. So knight d7. And then I think just bishop f6 is good here, and knight takes. And this is really bad because white's just threatening that. If black tries to protect like this way, then the queen is just overloaded. Rook d8 would lead to mate. Okay, so that's why Aronian plays rook f5. The knight's kind of a better defender here because it's also defending the e6 square. That's why he takes with this pawn. But here is another important moment. Wesley so just plays e6 anyways because he has to bring in this bishop quickly before black has time to block like this way and then protect the knight. So e6, if bishop takes e6, then bishop e5, and this is just winning because white is just gonna win a piece here, and the material is actually 1 point ahead for black, but okay, not anymore. It's equal here, but black is just totally lost because white's two rooks are dominating the game, and he's gonna just checkmate very soon after this knight develops. Okay, so Aronian plays bishop f8 because he knows that he can't take the pawn. White just follows up with bishop e5 anyways. And here Aronian plays c5. So if Aronian took on e6, then white would have checked and then followed up with this, which is also winning because that's turning rook e7, and I mean the queen is just like overloaded. Oh, sorry, that's threatening like rook e8 and rook e7, so yeah. There's just no way to protect both. Well, you can play king f8, but then queen f6, and then here. So that's bad. So that's why he played c5, but after take, now e7 is allowed because the bishop had to leave that square. And black can't take the queen because white will just make a new one and win another bishop as well. So this is bad. Okay, so black has to keep defending with bishop d7, and then queen h5. Again, threatening to promote. Black has to defend again because the knight can't move because I'll just take the bishop. Defend again, and here rook e1 threatens to mate. Bishop e8 is forced. If knight e6, then I can just sacrifice and win this way. This fork at the end is kind of key because the knight's very badly placed. So yeah, bishop e8 is forced, rook d8, knight a6, and then rook e6 is the final touch. It's like distracting the queen away from the defense of the e8 square because queen takes, rook takes, queen takes, and the queen will just come back to make another queen. So yeah, after rook e6, it's pretty much wraps. Queen d7, rook takes a8. Remember, this queen also defends the back rank, so knight c7, rook d8, attacking the queen, and it's game over because white just takes everything. If he took this way, then as we saw before, white's just going to come back and promote. So that's bad. And knight takes e6. And this was what happened in the game. Rook takes f8. If black played bishop takes f8, then white could just finish with queen g6. Bishop g7, queen check. So this was a really nice win by Wesley So against Aronian.